Hey Jessica, how you doing? Thank you so much for including your banner ad here and this written rationale. This makes a lot of sense here, and I'm really learning a lot about the way you approach the assignment simply by reading your written reaction to the assignment itself. So, a few things I want to address here. Focus on a small portion of the original background. That's great. That's a designer's that's your decision as a designer. You don't have to use the exact same image, but it does make sense to use part of the image, right? Obviously, you can't use the same image, and if you can crop parts of the image and have them make sense, that's great. And if not, using something like this, a portion of the image that makes sense to the concept and the subject matter, that's perfectly fine. So as we can clearly see beach and surf here. So I've got no issues with the background image whatsoever. Focus on the bottom portion. Okay. Book by December. Okay, change the color of fonts. I want to talk about the color of the fonts a little bit as well too. So not using any boxes, fine. Good job. Didn't stroke the text. Awesome, excellent. So you've been paying attention to the announcement. I'm so glad to hear that. That's awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and I've got to look at the GIF. I've got that up right here. Now, the first thing we notice, Jessica, is that there's no animations in the text. So that points probably to the way you saved it. So you go ahead and review those course announcements. And the course announcements indicate how to properly save the file. So definitely go through that. If I go to the course announcements, right over here, and you want to take a look particularly at these right here, how to animate call to action, how to create your banner from your magazine ad, how to animate type for your banner ad, and as well as module 4 right here. Okay, that'll show you how to save it. Those will show you how to save that out as a working GIF. So definitely want to take a look at those. I mean, after all, we definitely need to have those animations in here. Okay, so the only other comments I have is, well, you've got everything in here, right? But the only thing we don't see is the location. Now, you don't have to use the entire contact information, but definitely include the location somewhere. Located in beautiful St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, something like that. That is going to reinforce the client's branding, being that it is located in such a remotely beautiful portion of the world. So you want to use that to your advantage. That could feasibly make the difference between whether a viewer clicks on this banner or not. So definitely want to use that, place that location in here. Okay, as far as the general layout goes, I think there's a couple of things. I think your type is really, really super large. The headline is very, very big. And the subhead, I think, is pretty long. I think there's a lot of verbiage in the subhead. I mean, you could condense this: the first-time guests receive 50% off. Okay, and then the idea here is to get the viewer to click the banner, which will take them to the client's website. Once the viewer clicks the banner, your job as a designer is done. So keep that in mind. All you're doing is enticing the viewer to click the banner. Okay, so I'm a little concerned about the mechanics here, and I think the main reason is because we're really not using much negative space. Everything here is consumed by design elements. My recommendations are this: reduce the size of this something, bring it down here a little bit. Okay, bring it down here a little bit. Then take this headline and subhead and go ahead and pull these over to the left-hand side of the composition. Reduce the size of the headline. And the problem I'm having with this black is that it just advances too much in the composition. When I look at this, I feel like I'm getting yelled at. And now we're required to use bold type anyway, right? So bold type in conjunction with this large type size, it results in the viewer feeling like they're getting yelled at. So I would ease that back a little bit by reducing the size of this. Watch my cursor. So okay, so here's your master image headline, something like this, the subhead. Okay, and align that how you think is most appropriate over here. That's going to open up a lot of area for you to place this book by December 2019. And that is your call to action. So make sure that fades, definitely. Make sure that animates. over here, you're really close to the page edge, the margin of the ad right there. You want to give a little bit of breathing room there. So, and this right here, this descender for the P is running almost right off the page. So move that up and over to the left a little bit. I also think the logo is probably, again, a little bit large. So something like this should suffice just fine. So we want to use negative space as a design element instead of just leftover space. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think by establishing these recommended changes is really going to activate the negative space in the ad, and I think it's going to be a much more harmonious piece. Now, as far as the color goes, the black, this stark black really advances. I would recommend a different color for that. If you want to stick with black, don't do pure black, do something like a dark gray. Another option is to use the purple from the magazine ad, or sorry, from the logo, and or the teal color from the logo. So work on the way that try to get the type to kind of try to shoot for like this synergistic, this kind of reciprocal relationship between type and image. So that right now the type just really stands out. It pops forward too much. I think you want the type to be incorporated with the image as opposed to looking like it's pasted over the image. So you want the two to work together in concert as opposed to having an image and having it look like the type is placed right over the image. I hope that makes sense. If not, please let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. Missing a space after 50% and off. Which, like I said, I recommend reducing the length of that subhead anyway. So, all right, so think about those changes, and I'd like to see those changes reflected in your final ad. Now, the week 6 announcement asks for students to submit their magazine ad along with the banner ad so we can check for consistency, but I didn't see that. So if you make these changes and decide to repost, go ahead and post the magazine ad so we can check the consistency therein. So again, as I said, I'd like to see these changes reflected in your final banner ad, and make sure when you make these changes, make sure there's a very, very high degree of consistency between the magazine ad and the banner ad. That will, to a very high degree, dictate the success of the overall campaign itself. Okay, so excellent start. If you have any questions or if I need to make any clarifications, please let me know. I'll be glad to do so. And like I said, if you want to repost here, that's great. Go right ahead. If not, I'd like to see these changes reflected in your final submission, which is coming up next week during week 7. Okay, again, the most important thing right now is just let me know quickly if you have any questions at all so we can concentrate on moving forward. All right, that's all I have at this point. So, again, any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you. Great start.